going to hear from Colin Mans, the Democratic Socialists of America, talking about organizing in Layer 8.
We're also developing strategic replacements for tools that are critical for our own independence. Oops. So first and foremost is a tool called VAN, or Voter Action Network. It's a voter database and canvassing tool. It's used by the Democratic Party in nearly every race that you can run in. We use it as well because we run primarily as Democrats in the Democratic Party ballot line. We're open socialists, but we identify with the party as just, a little tool and a little hack that we do. It was purchased by private equity in 2021, and in 2023, they laid off a tremendous amount of their staff and have been doing layoffs ever since. The Harris campaign actually had to send tech workers from their campaign staff into the private equity firm that runs this tool to make sure that it would work for her election. We're talking about like the wheels on the car falling off for this particular tool. We're on borrowed time with it as well because they do not allow this tool to be used by independent candidates or anyone that is running against a Democrat. We were trying to run an independent candidate for Congress in Chicago. For bureaucratic reasons, they were not allowed to participate on the ballot. They were locked out entirely from using VAN for any of their campaign efforts, either from signature collection, door knocking, cutting turf, and they had to resort to using other tools or just going back to pen and paper in order to be able to run this campaign. Unfortunately, it was unsuccessful, but we're working on it. We're building a tool called BUS, or Building Up Socialism. Why ride a van when you can take public transit, right? It's a homegrown canvassing suite. It's primarily focused on electoral work and organizing. There's a lot of work that goes into running a successful campaign. Things like cutting turf, things like knowing which houses are actually receptive to your candidate, who are either strong supporters, again, going back to the bullseye that I showed earlier of identifying a core around a campaign, or activists and supporters who are willing to help move that campaign forward, or put out lawn signs, or talk to their neighbors or coworkers about supporting their candidate. We want to expand it, though, beyond just electoral work. We do tenant organizing, which, if you've ever done it, you're knocking on doors in apartment buildings trying to figure out if there's a lot of repairs that aren't being made, if there's like really horrible conditions that are happening, illegal rent hikes. And it functions very much like an electoral canvas, just with a different outcome. Labor work as well is also being planned to get integrated into the tool, and our envisioning for it is it's a one-stop shop, same data, different lens for being able to figure out this person supported our candidate a couple of years ago. They're fighting a slumlord at home, and they happen to be a member of DC 23 or DC 37, whatever labor union they're a member of, right? Being able to correlate all that information means we can make stronger pitches at the door, means we can feed into all of our organizing efforts and actually try to win demands, whether in the electoral arena, inside of housing, inside of labor, or anything else that these people may be interested in. We've had a lot of input already from not just organizers and campaign leads, but we've also had candidates coming to us to tell us things that they want to see in this kind of tool. Just a couple of weeks ago, I actually had impromptu dinner with a candidate in Chicago, and heard a lot of input around BUS that they want to see input into it for their own campaign eventually. So we're hoping to pilot initial canvases with this next year. We just got it approved. We're going to be very slow and steady with this. Maybe one canvas here and there for some campaigns in key areas. Maybe half of the canvas is run on VAN. Maybe half the canvas is run on BUS, or we run one whole shift on BUS. We're trying to make sure that what we're offering isn't just a minimal viable product, but is something that is actually going to be able to be adopted for campaigns year-round.
Hello, comrade. Hello, Colin. My name is Tio Chino. I'm the leader of the Socialist faction in the Democratic Party. One thing I heard you today, and you're talking about all those open source software, but as Telman said, open source goes two-way. And we heard the talk about you taking the open source, using it in the organization, but nothing is coming out back into the open source community. So you're talking about replacing VAN and doing BUS. But out of the Bernie 2016 campaign came out the program, prog code. Basically, they were doing all the tool that VAN were doing and all those outreach tool in an open source format that was in and out, no matter who wanted to use the tool, MAGA or not, they were there to disenshittify the boards of election and all the shit we do in election. What is in DSA? Why doesn't DSA participate in bringing out the stuff that the people need in the general public, like the Rep My Block tool that was started here at Hope 11 with Hope People? What is DSA going to do to bring out into the open source world what they have learned? Because I haven't heard anything out of that.
Yeah, so the short answer to that is we have contributed code to open source projects, whether it's patches, issues, bug fixes, and if our members are interested in the tool, they're working on it.
But the tool product, not just, so you're just putting patches, but what about the ideas that come out of your talks and putting it for the broad public to use?
That's what we're doing.
You're not putting BUS on the, BUS is not an open source product that anyone.
It hasn't been released yet, that's why.
So you're saying you're going to release it. For example, because we're doing Rep My Block, that is exactly what BUS is doing, and you guys are not contributing to it. So are you going to put BUS on the open source so a MAGA person can use it for their own organization or not?
I don't think they're going to find use for it when they already have these tools paid for them by the Republican Party. But I think we're getting to a philosophical argument here, Theo.
That's the idea of hope.